Shotguns in Cold War zombies, probably the best weapons that you can be running into the game. Due to their high damage and the fact that this year they took out hit marker points, these guns are just overall insane at getting you to these higher rounds. Now this, combined with the fact that there are only 2 of them in the category, make them a perfect place to start that camo grind for Dark Aether. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I essentially got these diamond without really having to think about it because they're so good. But hopefully here today, I have a couple tips in order to help you get it done even faster than I did. Now, as always with our Plague Diamond videos, I will have all the categories for each different camo timestamped out in the description, so you're able to look for exactly what you need in case there's a certain challenge giving you a little bit of trouble. Now, I'd also like to mention that all the gameplay from getting these shotguns diamond was streamed over on my Twitch. So if you'd like to come hang out with us while we're working towards this Dark Aether camo, I will leave a link for that down below. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk about how to get these shotguns Plague Diamond. Alright, so the first series of camo challenges that you receive with the shotgun is the Grunge series. And all this series asks you to do is to get 2,500 kills, be it with your gun pack-a-punched or unpack-a-punched. Now, I don't really have any specific tips on how to use the shotguns just because they're so good. However, I do have a couple little tips that might help the kills get done a bit faster. Now, the first tip that I have for you guys is to make sure to use the wall buys for these guns instead of trying to use your salvage to upgrade them. Both of these shotguns do have wall buys on the map. The Hauer's wall buy is inside of Knocked on the bottom floor, and it's a green one. And then for the Gallo, if you go ahead and head up to that crash site, I'm sure you've all seen and used this wall buy before. It's just right there on the plane at blue rarity. When you go ahead and use these wall buys, it means that you don't have to worry about tiering up your weapons to keep them powerful. They're already a step ahead of the curve versus your loadout one. So just go ahead and pick these up so your kills can be easy one-shots instead of 2 to 3 shot kills. The other tip that I have for you guys when it comes to just getting these general kills done is only focus one shotgun at a time. While I know it might seem smart to go ahead and run both shotguns and split up those kills, you'll just be able to get it done way faster and get those weapon levels grinded out even quicker if you just run one of these shotguns per game. Due to the strength of these shotguns, this should only take one game, assuming you want to take it to a round 40 game, because these shotties are totally viable to take that far. So just go ahead, drop into the game, get these kills done in one game while leveling it up, and these series of camos will just totally fly by. Now, the next series of camos that you receive for the shotguns is the Liquid series, and you receive these at weapon level 5. And what this series asks you to do is to get 2,500 crit kills using the shotgun. Now, this can seem kind of tough sometimes due to the fact that the shotguns obviously fire out a burst and not just a single bullet, and that sometimes those will go to the body and it might not count for you. However, I've done a little bit of research on the attachments and whatnot to try and find which ones will make these headshots the easiest. Now, the first attachment that you'll be able to use that will help you out with getting these headshots is the duckbill choke. And all this attachment really does is it just kind of takes your crosshair and squishes it, so it fires more pellets out to the side than not using the barrel, but it also narrows the height that they will go. Now, I for sure recommend go ahead and throw this on as soon as you unlock it. Especially if you're hip firing for your headshots, the way it affects the spread of the gun, it'll make it way easier to go ahead and get those done. Now, the second attachment that I definitely recommend that you guys use while going for these crit kills is the Infantry V-Choke. So as you can see, once we go ahead and throw on that V-Choke, when you're hip firing it, not a whole lot is different about the spread compared to when you have no muzzle. But when you go ahead and ADS, the change is absolutely insane. As you can see, all the pellets are in one spot on the wall. Even once we decide to back up, that spread is still so tight, all the pellets are just going into that one spot. So definitely as soon as you unlock this, you gotta throw it on to get these headshots. It has the same effect on both the Gallo and the Hauer, so where it's all your pellets are gonna go into one spot. So just this in combination with Deadshot, you'll be guaranteeing yourself those headshots, and these will fly by in no time because you'll be getting so many crit kills while working on the general kills as well. Next up, you get the Brushstroke series at weapon level 10. And all this series asks you to do is to get 2,500 kills while that shotgun is pack-a-punched. Now, as always, this series is incredibly similar to the first series in terms of how many kills you need to get. The only difference is obviously it's locked behind the weapon level, and then you just have to pack-a-punch your gun. So the only real tip for this one is just make sure to force up that pack-a-punch as soon as you're able to start chipping away at these, because when you go ahead and do that, assuming you haven't totally finished off the first series yet, you can start working on them at the same time, because as aforementioned, those pack-a-punch kills count for that first series as well. So don't worry about perks, not even Jug, because you can do the Coffin Dance Easter egg to get that for free. And just pack-a-punch that gun as early as you can in your game, and you'll get it done in no time. Next up, you have the Vintage series, which you receive at weapon level 15. What this series asks you to do is to get 15 elite eliminations with the shotgun. Now, thus far on the channel, we've only covered guns that aren't exactly the greatest at taking out the bosses. But when it comes to these shotguns, they're probably the best gun that you can be running that's not the ray gun to be taking out these megatons. But I do have a couple of tips just to make sure that it goes incredibly smoothly, since obviously this is the first one that we've covered that requires you to kill 15 of them and not just 10. Now, the first tip that I have when it comes to taking out the megatons with the shotgun is to make sure that you have dead wire as your ammo mod on your gun. Now, the reason you do this is because when you run dead wire, it actually does a little bit extra damage to the bosses when you go ahead and shoot them. So if you go ahead and run that on your shotgun, which is already insane at taking them out, you'll be able to take them out just even a little bit faster. Now, the second tip that I have for you guys when it comes to going ahead and taking on this series of camos is just use the Ring of Fire. I'm sure you guys saw it coming, but it is just such a good ability for this series of challenges. Combining the fact that the shotgun's already insane at taking out the bosses, even if you don't have that Ring of Fire extra damage, and throwing that extra damage in there, you might be surprising yourself sometimes with the fact that you almost one-shot the megaton as a whole. Just go ahead, throw dead wire on your gun, throw on that Ring of Fire, and you'll just melt all 15 of the guys that you have to in absolutely no time. Next up, we have the Fauna series, which you receive at weapon level 20. What this series asks you to do is to get 10 rapid kills 10 times. Now, this challenge is a pretty easy one overall, a very nice break from having to either kill the bosses or get over 2,000 kills to complete them. And due to the fact that this challenge only takes about 100 kills, I don't really have anything too special for it, except for the fact, just make sure you have 10 zombies on the map before you start trying to go for it. Because there were a couple times where I was sitting there like trying to pick off some zombies as they spawn, and they just weren't spawning fast enough to be able to get that carnage medal that they're looking for. So just make sure, get 10 zombies trained up. Both of the shotguns, when they're upgraded, have more than enough bullets to be able to get 10 rapid kills. And these will be done in probably a couple rounds for you. Next up, you'll get the Topography series at weapon level 25. What this series asks you to do is to get 3 or more rapid crit kills 25 times. Now, the way that they worded that is pretty important, because that means if you go ahead and get 6 rapid crit kills, it's not gonna count as 2. So the only tip that I have for this one that doesn't mirror just getting the general crit kills is just make sure to stop after you get those 3 crit kills and kind of let the timer that the game counts it on reset. If you just go ahead and wait out that timer, you'll be able to have it done as early as 75 zombie kills, which is just probably the easiest challenge we've taken on so far. So just make sure after you get your 3 crit kills, just take a break and then go for 3 more, and you'll have this done in 1 or 2 rounds. And finally, you'll receive the Infection series at weapon level 30. What this series asks you to do is to get 20 or more consecutive kills with the shotgun without getting hit 10 times. Again, this is pretty particular on the wording with that addition of or more. So first tip that I have for you guys is just make sure that you're counting your kills. If it's rapid enough, you'll have a medal to help you out. But once you've counted 20 kills without getting touched, just go ahead and let a zombie hit you so it can reset that challenge. Now, there are a couple different ways that I can recommend you guys go about this. The first one is you can go ahead and drop in with the shotgun that you need to do this challenge on and go ahead and work on it from round 1 to round 10. Obviously, if you go ahead and do it this route, the zombies will be much slower and easier to manage. But the downside of this is that it will end up taking 2 games since only about 180 zombies spawn in those first 10 rounds. But this is for sure a really great way to roll if you're not super comfortable training on those higher rounds. The other way, which I definitely find easier and is the way that I went ahead and did it, is just go ahead and once you're on about like round 20 or whatever, go ahead and let a whole horde of zombies spawn in. And just make sure you're able to mow down at least 20 in that horde before they start respawning. When you do it this way, it's just a lot faster because you're not waiting on the zombies and you're killing them rapidly enough to go ahead and get that bloodbath medal and know that you successfully got those 20 kills. Now, this challenge can be a little bit tilting because you'll be so close to getting one of them and then a zombie will sneak up on you. So just be diligent about how many kills that you have and focus on not getting hit, and you'll definitely be able to get these challenges done in absolutely no time. And congrats, you got your shotgun's Plague Diamond. But we'll go ahead and take a look here at the camos in game on max settings. I've said this every video thus far when it comes to the Viper Gold camo, but this camo definitely needs some sort of update. Compared to the multiplayer gold, these just don't look that great. It looks more like a generic weapon skin that you get along the way, and hopefully they update it in some way. However, with these Plague Diamond camos, they look absolutely phenomenal. You got all your pink diamonds across the gun. It also goes ahead and turns the metal on the gun to a pink metal. Just looks fantastic. Is definitely worth grinding out both the shotguns to get this camo. And that does it for how to get shotguns Plague Diamond in Cold War Zombies. A ton of time goes in these videos between getting the camos done, finding the best way to do them, and then getting out these videos to you guys. So if this video was helpful in any way at all, please make sure to drop a like on it. Also, make sure to subscribe. We're going to continue to be pumping out Cold War content all year long. So if you enjoyed this at all, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any videos in the future. Also, make sure to leave a comment down below on what weapon series we should take on next. I already have launchers done and getting the video done for that, but obviously we got to get something going after those launchers, so make sure to comment on what we should take on next. Again, most of this camo grind is streamed over on my Twitch, so if you'd like to come hang out with us while we're working towards that Dark Aether camo, I'll make sure to leave a link for that down below. Yeah, that's going to do it here for me, guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Till then.